We've all asked that big question at some point. Who am I really? But what if the answer isn't hiding in some deep philosophy book or a big, grand statement about ourselves? What if, and stick with me here, the truest way to know yourself is just to watch yourself? Today we're going to dive into this really powerful, super practical way to figure yourself out, and it all starts not with what you think, but with what you see.
And right away, this quote kind of throws down a challenge, doesn't it? It immediately points out this gap, this space between the person we say we are and the person our everyday actions show us to be. And it's right there, in that gap between our claims and our actual commitments, that's where the real you is hiding. So let's start this whole thing in a place we all know pretty well. That comfortable, respectable image we have of ourselves. You know the one. It's the person we like to think we are. It's the highlight reel we show the world.
Okay, let's break this down. Over on the left, you've got our declared values. Oh, I'm a spiritual person. I really care about justice. I'm all about personal growth. These sound great, right? But now, look at the right. The real challenge is to ask, what are the actual patterns in my life that back these claims up? And for a lot of us, if we're being honest, that side is just a big question mark. And maybe we're a little afraid to find out the answer.
All right, so if who we are isn't just about the great things we say about ourselves, then where do we actually look for the truth? This next part is all about making a huge shift in focus, away from our words and onto our actions, because that's where the real story of you is being written every single day.
I mean, really think about that for a second. It's a huge question. We spend so much of our energy building this image, this persona we want people to see. But where does the raw, unfiltered, undeniable truth about who you are actually live? And here it is. The answer is so simple, it's almost shocking. The truth about you isn't in what you claim to believe. It's in your patterns, the things you do over and over and over again without even thinking. You are your patterns.
So, okay, how do we actually see these patterns? Well, this gives us an incredibly useful checklist. And these aren't some vague, abstract ideas, they're literal data points about your life. Where does your time go? What are you always thinking about? Where does your money actually end up? These things are your real teachers. And just as important, what are the things you run away from? The things you're terrified to lose? That right there, that shows you what you're truly attached to.
All right, so now we have the tools. We know what to look for, but what happens when we actually start looking? Well, this is where the journey can get a little rough, because when you're truly honest with yourself, you start to see things that aren't so comfortable. This is the moment that carefully constructed mask begins to crack.
And this is just a brilliant, kind of brutal example of what that honesty looks like. We all love to post about our wins, right? Our celebrations. But this is telling us to look at what we tolerate. The stuff you put up with at work, in your relationships, in your own head. Because that reveals your true standard. That shows what you've decided is good enough.
And the hits keep coming with this next one, which is so relevant for right now. Forget the curated version of your life that you post online. Instead, look at what you fiercely protect in private. Is it your energy, your family time, your peace and quiet? Whatever you build a wall around, that's what you truly value.
And here's the final knockout punch. You might wish you were the kind of person who reads classic novels every night. But if your actual compulsion is to mindlessly scroll on your phone for an hour before bed, well, that compulsion is telling a much truer story about who you are in this moment.
And after you do this kind of honest, relentless self-observation for a while, you will inevitably land right here, at this one profound realization. It can feel like a total crisis, honestly, like the whole story you've been telling yourself about yourself just falls apart. You start to see all your programming, your fears, the beliefs you just borrowed from other people.
Now that moment of seeing yourself so clearly, it can sting, for sure. But the source material is so clear on this. It is not a failure. In fact, that moment is the whole point. This is where real freedom begins. This is the reward for having the guts to actually look.
So let's just redefine what we're even trying to do here. True self-knowledge, it's not about building a better, shinier version of yourself. It's not about adding more good habits on top of the old ones. It's an active demolition. It's about having the courage to just stand back and watch the false, constructed self finally crumble away.
This quote just nails the paradox at the heart of all this. The pain of seeing the truth about ourselves is the very thing that sets us free.
free from the exhaustion of having to pretend all the time, free from the weight of holding up an illusion. That liberation, it comes directly from this really difficult but necessary act of seeing.
So after all that, where do we go from here? What's the one thing you're supposed to take away from this whole explainer? Well, the instruction is actually so simple, it's almost shocking. It's the path back to yourself, and you can start walking it, like right now.
First things first, this work has to be done honestly. No judging, no making excuses for what you see. You're just a scientist, and your life is the data. You just have to observe it, raw, unfiltered, and honest.
Next up, and this is crucial, this isn't a one-time thing. You don't just do it once and you're done. It's a practice. You have to watch yourself repeatedly, day after day, because your real patterns only show up over time. It's all about consistency.
And finally, you have to do it relentlessly. That means you keep looking, even when it gets uncomfortable, especially when it gets uncomfortable, even when you really don't like what you see. That's the level of commitment it takes to truly, deeply know who you are.
And so, in the end, it all comes back to this one simple command. Forget who you think you should be. Forget the perfect image you've tried to build. Just watch who you actually are. That clear, honest seeing. That alone is the true beginning of an authentic life. So the only question left is, are you willing to look?